All right, today we're going to dive into one of the coolest safety mechanisms our body has, a really clever built-in emergency brake that protects us from something you'd never expect. So let me ask you this, can you really have too much of a good thing? I mean, we're always told more is better when it comes to health, right? More vitamins, more nutrients. But what if a substance that's absolutely vital for you to live could actually become dangerous in big doses? Well, let's talk about iodine. And this is where we get to the iodine paradox. On the one hand, you absolutely need it. Your thyroid gland uses it to make the hormones that run your metabolism. Without iodine, you've got some serious problems. But what happens if you get a huge, sudden dose of it? You'd think that would just kick your thyroid into hyperdrive, wouldn't you? Let's just play that out for a second. Imagine your body had zero defense against an iodine overdose. What would that even feel like? What happens when there's no off switch? Well, the result is a pretty scary condition called thyrotoxicosis. This is when your body is flooded with way too much thyroid hormone. Your internal engine is basically redlining, and it can't stop. We're talking a racing heart, dangerously high blood pressure, dropping weight for no reason, and feeling incredibly anxious and agitated. Your thyroid is just completely out of control. It's exactly the kind of disaster scenario our body is designed to prevent. And thank goodness for us, our bodies are way ahead of the game. We have this amazing built-in protective system. Think of it like a biological emergency brake that gets slammed on to stop that overload before it can do any damage. That emergency brake has a name, the Wolff-Chaikoff Effect, and it's just this elegant, self-regulating process. When your body senses a massive amount of iodine, the thyroid gland itself literally says, nope, and temporarily shuts down hormone production. It's all to protect the whole system from going haywire. And this isn't some brand new discovery either. It was first figured out way back in 1948 by doctors Jan Wolff and Israel Chaikoff. Their experiment was actually pretty straightforward. They gave rats really high doses of iodine and just watched what happened. And they saw that a critical step in the thyroid, a process called organification, just stopped cold. They'd found the off switch. Okay, so seeing that it happens is one thing, but how does it actually work, you know? What's going on deep inside those thyroid cells to trigger such a sudden shutdown? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. So this shutdown is this incredible chain reaction happening at the microscopic level. First, a flood of iodide pours into the thyroid cells. Now, this huge concentration is thought to create some temporary, super-reactive iodine compounds inside the cell. These compounds then basically throw a wrench into the gears of a key enzyme, thyroid peroxidase, which is vital for making the hormones. See, that enzyme's job is to attach iodine onto this big protein framework called thyroglobulin. You can think of it as the hormone's backbone. When that step, the organification step, gets blocked, the entire assembly line for new hormones just grinds to a halt. No new hormones get made, and their release is blocked too. It's a really fast, really decisive shutdown. Now, what's so important to remember is that this isn't a permanent thing. It's more like a temporary shield. It's the body's way of hitting pause, saying, whoa, that's way too much. Let's just chill until things get back to normal. It's purely protective. So, how long does this shield stay up? Well, it lasts for about 10 days. For that period, the thyroid stays quiet, suppressed by all that iodine. But you know, our body knows it can't keep the brakes on forever. After that, something else, something just as fascinating starts to happen. And just to show you how incredibly powerful this effect is, get this. This quote explains that giving someone with an overactive thyroid a big dose of iodine can slow their metabolism down so much, it's like they had their thyroid surgically removed. I mean, that is an unbelievable level of natural control. And that's exactly what made doctors sit up and take notice. Which of course leads to the next big question. If the body uses this to protect itself, can we use it to help patients? And the answer was a huge yes. This phenomenon went straight from the science lab to the hospital bedside. And this is where it really becomes a lifesaver. The most critical use is for something called a thyroid storm. It's a rare but absolutely deadly condition where the body's metabolism just goes into complete, catastrophic overdrive. In that emergency, doctors give a high dose of iodine to intentionally trigger the Wolff-Chaikoff effect. It's like hitting the big red emergency stop button, slamming the brakes on hormone production and buying critical time. It's also the exact same principle behind giving out potassium iodide pills during a nuclear emergency. You saturate the thyroid with safe iodine, triggering this shutdown so it can't absorb the dangerous radioactive stuff.
But like we said, that emergency brake is not designed to stay on forever. The body has a built-in plan to get back to business as usual, even if those high iodine levels are sticking around.
And it's called the escape phenomenon. After about those 10 days, the thyroid cleverly figures out a way to restart production. It literally escapes from the suppressive effect of the iodine and gets back to work. So how does it pull off this great escape? It's another brilliant bit of regulation. The thyroid cells basically start shutting their own doors. They reduce the number of these special channels, they're called sodium iodide symporters, that let iodine in. Fewer open doors means less iodine can get inside the cell, even if there's a ton of it outside. That drops the internal concentration below the shutdown level, and boom, the factory is back online. It's a biological reset. Now, real quick, it's important not to get the Wolff-Chaikoff effect mixed up with something called the Plummer effect. If you look here under action, you can see the huge difference. Wolff-Chaikoff stops the synthesis. It shuts down the factory that makes new hormones. The Plummer effect, on the other hand, it mostly just stops the release of hormones that are already built and waiting. And because it's so fast and stops production at the source, Wolff-Chaikoff is the really critical one for emergencies. So you see, the Wolff-Chaikoff effect, the escape phenomenon, even the Plummer effect, these aren't just random quirks. They're all part of this beautiful, coordinated system. They work together in synergy to keep us safe and to maintain that perfect internal balance we call homeostasis. And that really just leaves you with one final thought. The Wolff-Chaikoff effect is such a stunning example of our body's hidden intelligence, a pre-programmed defense system. It just makes you wonder, what other amazing safety switches like this are working away inside us right now, just waiting for us to discover them?